Hello, hello. In this video, we're going to start a new project. It was designed by Andy Anderson, and it is the dining chair. Today, we're going to be producing this part, the front legs of the chair. And so come with me and let's walk through the process of how we made this on the Maverick 4x4 CNC system. To produce the two front legs, we're going to be using the turning workstation. And this is being mounted between centers using, on the headstock end, a centering 4-jaw chuck, while the tailstock supports the end of the blank with a live center. Now the finished diameter of this leg is going to be 2 inch by 2 inches square, but the blank is oversized to 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And the blank is just large enough where it can't squeeze inside of those jaws. And so here I mounted a hub, it's just a round 2-inch aluminum plate on the end of the blank so that the 4-jaw chuck has something to grip onto. You can also use different size faceplate rings and switch out your jaw sizes to accommodate whatever blank size needs to be mounted within the turning center. Now before we can start the program, we have to make sure the blank is square to the machine. So we'll dial this in and zero out that A-axis. So the reason this is so critical is because of the type of part this is. This part is going to be a multi-sided / indexing component, which means that none of it is going to be turned. You can do two different types of techniques within the turning workstation, and that is turning and indexing. Indexing is when the stock is not rotating, but the cutter is still approaching a surface and doing detail work on a face, and then indexes or rotates to another face and holds it in place for the next machining procedure. For example, this first cutter is the surfacing cutter 2704 from Magnate. And the reason we use this cutter is because the bottom of the carbide is completely flat and doesn't have any degree or rake to it, so it gives us less tool marks and a finer finish. This cutter is surfacing it down to a 2-inch square section and taking a 40% step over from side to side at about 180 inches per minute. The first thing that the surfacing process does is it goes down the length of each side, climb milling those edges to help reduce the tear out that could take place. And then it goes back and forth, bringing the edges closer to the center until the entire face is surfaced. Now, one thing I want to discuss a little bit is what is called chip thickness. And this is something that can be calculated for every single cutting technique on the CNC. The chip thickness is when the blade of the tool sweeps across the material, how thick is that individual chip? And that is all determined based on how fast you're traveling and how fast the cutter is rotating. And so a simple formula is you take your cutting speed, also known as your feed rate, and you divide it by your spindle speed, which is your RPM multiplied by how many flutes are on the cutter, and that equals your chip thickness. So let's break that down in this scenario. The cutter is traveling at 180 inches per minute. That's our feed rate. And we divide that by how many cuts are happening per minute. And that's our spindle speed times the number of flutes. So this is rotating the cutter at 16,000 RPM, but we have 2 flutes. So we're actually making 32,000 cuts per minute. So if you take 180 inches per minute and divide it by 32,000 cuts, each cut is taking between 5 and 6 thousandths of an inch, 0.0056. The chip thickness can be different based on the material and the type of cutter that you are using. Typically in woodworking, your chip thickness can be anywhere from as small as 4 thousandths to even as high as 15 plus thousandths, depending on the material that you're actually cutting into. Okay, now that the blank has been surfaced exactly to 2 inches square, we're going to add all the detail work. So next we're going to use this classic plunge cutter. This is order number 3934 from Magnate. And this is going to cut around the circumference of the square section, adding this Cove profile to the leg. Now, because the cutter is cutting across the grain of the material, we want to minimize any tear out that could take place by slowing down our cutting speeds and how much material the cutter is taking per pass. Here, the tool is taking 3 passes. The first 2 roughing passes are about 0.2 inches deep, and the final pass is 0.02 inches deep, so that we're getting the cleanest cut possible across that face. The next tool is a 1/2 inch up spiral cutter that has a really long cut length. This tool has 3 inches, where technically for this part, I didn't need anything longer than 2 1/4, but 3 inches will work because it's what I had. Now this cutting technique where it's approaching the side of the material at full depth is called a Swerve cut. And this was designed and laid out in Vectric's Aspire CAD/CAM software. By combining the Vectric software with our conversational cam turning software, we've really been able to maximize the capabilities of the turning workstation. I recommend checking out their software at vectric.com. Now this cutter is going to take a lot of roughing passes to get to the final shape. And because we're taking full depths of cuts, the roughing passes is being controlled with our step overs. Here, the cutter is taking about 1/8 of an inch of material along the edge. And that will work its way in 1/8 inch at a time until the final pass, we narrowed it down to 1/16 of an inch to give us a fine finish. Now, even though every single one of these Swerve cuts are climb milling to reduce tear out and to give me a clean finish, I want to show you something that I learned, that which side of the material you cut on actually matters. So let me show you a clip here from the first part that I did. I was actually cutting the main shape of this along that front face. But because a lot of the detail work was on a uphill slope, it still gave us a really bad tear out, even though we were climb milling. So now let's go back to the leg that we were cutting first of all to see the correction that took place. So all I did is I swapped which side of the part I was cutting on. So on that front face, I was cutting from right to left. And now on the back face, for that main detail, I'm cutting from left to right to keep it as a climb mill cutting direction. But because the detail work is on the other side, I'm now cutting on a downward slope for all of that detail work, making it so I have a much cleaner finish with almost zero tear out. To wrap up this leg, the final cutter is a 1/4 inch down spiral, and this is going to add the joinery, the pocket mortises, to 2 sides of the leg. If I'm trying to be a little more precise for joinery, I'll slow down my cutting speeds. So here I'm cutting at about 80 inches per minute and taking 1/4 of an inch per pass. And I repeated that for 4 passes for a total depth of 1 inch for that mortise. Now all the tools shown throughout this entire part, including the down and up spiral cutters, are from magnate.net. They by far have the largest variety of custom profile shaped cutters than you can find anywhere else. Plus they have all the standard cutters like these up and down spirals. As a good tip, and from personal experience of running into things so many times, I always recommend giving yourself additional clearance from the fixtures. So for example, from the headstock end of the 4-jaw chuck, I didn't start cutting for the first 1.5 inches of material, and that's going to be waste material that I'll cut off afterwards. Same thing on the tailstock end. There I gave myself 1 inch of excess material that will be cut off afterwards. The last thing this 1/4 inch cutter does is actually cuts a score mark on both ends of the leg so that all the legs come out to the exact same length. Now this entire leg was programmed using Legacy's Conversational Cam Pro software. Now even though the Swerve cutting was laid out in toolpath in the Vectric software, CCam Pro allowed me to combine those toolpaths with the rest of the toolpaths in CCam Pro and in any order I wish. So this all came together as one program for all 4 cutters and toolpath techniques. In total, including all the tool changes, this took less than 15 minutes to produce. Even after all this time, watching it accomplish all of that work in less than 15 minutes is pretty amazing. Now, the next part that we're going to be producing is the back legs. So keep an eye out for that next video. If you want more information on the Legacy CNC systems, I recommend you jump on over to our website at legacywoodworking.com. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.